So here we are in Shanghai Trader, and rolled my die roll of doom. It's a 6. Game's going to end this turn. Some special rules for the last turn of the game. There's no shipping. There's no income does come in. Kind of screwed up in my head. I had to look that up. No special contractors other than assassins, bodyguards, and the minder. Basically, only the people who help you get out of here. So, the real goal here now is get your money in the bank and get out. Well, those may be 2 steps when you don't have time for 2. It's fairly easy. You can go to the consulate automatically. You can go to the airfield, I believe, automatically from there. But then you have to stick around and get shot at, possibly. And that makes things kind of difficult. The bonus here is, of course, on the Russians, because they already have a bodyguard. But the French have this pile of cash stashed away. They could just leave. They don't have to try and arrange to drop money off. Japan likewise could leave, but they pretty much feel like they have to try to get their cash out. And everybody else has nothing in the bank, so there's no value to leaving for them. Well, I mean, other than that they get to save their lives. But yeah, the cash becomes worthless, the properties become worthless. So, I guess I'll hand out the income, but otherwise a lot of the maneuvering that we saw from last turn, none of it's going to matter at all. It's just what you produce this turn, whether you can use it to any effect. Okay, so at the end of the first turn here, the winter turn, the Russians managed to get to the banks and drop money. The French went straight to the consulate, paid up for a passport, and they're planning on leaving. They think they've got enough money. Both Germany and Japan ended up at the Daily Mail instead of the banks, and ended up having to ended up looking at how much money the French have. Kind of a disappointment for the Japanese. I think they learned they cannot win. Although they may be able to if they squirrel all their money away and get out. But on the other hand, what they may try to do is just try to get out with $5,000 in the bank and shoot the French or anyone else who's able to get out. It's hard to get out of the country. That's one of the problems that we saw with this game in other plays, is the last turn's not enough to guarantee that you get out. End of the spring turn. Only exciting actions that happened. The French went over, bought $100,000 worth of bodyguards, which gives them a +3 to the die roll, and they'll start rolling to get out. They need the 1 through 3 to get out next turn. And the Russians went to the consulate, paid cash, grabbed themselves some papers, and they're ready to start moving too. Germany, US, and Britain bungling around looking for the banks. Japanese also did that, but they spent $40,000 to try to take a shot. Only succeed on a 1 at the French. Didn't work. Alright, on to this summer turn. Summer turn, everybody has to grab their passports on this one. And everybody did. We see everybody ran up here and paid cash for a passport. French managed to get out legitimately. Everybody took a shot at them, but they only needed a 1. They needed a 1 to hit, and that's pretty rare. However, the Russians also moved in here. They had their minder. Japanese took a shot at them, hit, and then rolled, and then they hit the minder. This is the question now. Do people want to try to shoot the Russian and prevent them from winning? Or do they want to... basically, France wins if Russia doesn't make it. Do you let the Russian guy out with his money or not? And this is always... I don't know whether or not he's going to win. The Russian player's like, hey man, give me a chance. I don't know what different players would choose to do, and I'm going to kind of roll a die on that. Depending on how their feeling is, has anybody been screwed over by the Russians? The Germans don't feel like they were. However, the U.S. and the Brits got shafted, so they're probably going to shoot, and the Germans probably not. Okay, so we'll take this one off too. Well, the Russians got shot down by the British, and so they're dead. I don't know how much they had. I'll check and see if they had enough to be. The real question is, could they have afforded a $100,000 bodyguard and still maybe beat the French? Because anything, could they have afforded a bodyguard? They didn't know how much the French had, so they couldn't make that choice. Only the Germans and I think the Japanese got to look. I'm not sure. Anyway, we got everyone else clustered here with $100,000 bodyguards shooting at each other. They're all going to shoot at Japan because Japan already deposited some money and everybody knows that. They don't know how much. They don't think it's much, but at least they'll move up a rank if they kill the Japanese. If they kill somebody tied for last, big deal. Okay. Well, I'll start with the Brits. And in the end, the Germans shot the Japanese, killing them. And then they actually managed to escape. So they're going to be in second place. The U.S. and British got stuck here. And, well, I hope they enjoy their new life. Let's see what the Russians had here. Doesn't look like much. 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 125. French are at 240. Russians weren't going to have a chance to win anyway as long as the French got out. But they didn't know that. They didn't know how much the French stowed away, but they figured it was probably at least 100 and something. So they thought they had a shot with it. All right, well, that's it for this one. It's a tough game to play solitaire. It's much more, it's one of those games where it's kind of funny and silly to watch what happens and everything, and to stab people over, and playing it solo, you lose so much of it. However, and I'll go more into this in the review, it's not, because of the way the rules are set up, it's not a game you can just, bring to a gaming thing and read through. And this is how we did it the one time we played, but somebody who usually didn't bring games taught us, and assume that it's going to all make sense. You actually have to kind of understand the interplay of the different parts. And that's that's a tough thing for a game like this. You're not going to be probably playing it too many times. I suppose I'll load this up and do a separate review on this one. All right.